Part 44. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 432. A loud shout spread throughout Muling village. The villagers all came out, puzzled. Who are they? Iron scale horses, such powerful war beasts, they are from outside. Their flag is actually a wood spirit. The villagers were talking a lot as they looked at the team outside. At this moment, people from the Muling dynasty came on horseback, charging straight through the village's wooden fence to guard against wild beasts. Who is in charge here? Come out and speak. Mu Jingshan held the riding whip in his hand and glanced at it with pride on his face. Who are you? Break through our fence. It's too much. Compensation. The villagers were a little dissatisfied. These people were so rude. Mu Jingshan's face darkened and he shouted. How dare you, a group of untouchables, dare to make a noise? Shut up, otherwise, I will make you look good. At the same time, his cultivation was released instantly. He is in the realm of fusion. The faces of the villagers changed. Who are you, sir? Why do you want to come to our Muling village? At this time, an old voice came. Murantian is waiting, he has already come over. Mu Jingshan turned his head, looked at the old man who spoke, and said. Who are you? Murantian said coldly, Old man, the head of Muling village, Murantian. Very good, we are here just to find you. Mu Jingshan said, I am Mu Jingshan, the general of the Muling dynasty, and this is my father, Mu Jinyun, the guardian elder of the Muling dynasty. Behind him, Mu Jinyun looked down at the villagers indifferently, with disdain in his eyes. Is this the ancestral village? Too weak, even this so-called village chief is just a minor cultivator in the Fusion Dao realm. Hearing this, the villagers were surprised. Is the legend true? Is there really a wood spirit dynasty in the outside world? Is it built by those in our village who don't respect the teachings of our ancestors? There was a lot of discussion. Murantian also frowned and said in a deep voice. What are you doing here? Mu Jingshan sneered. It's nothing. Our ancestors lived in this village for a while and lost some things in the village. As descendants, we just came to ask for those things. Hand over all the ancestral belongings in the village. As if he had given an order, he did not take Muling village into his eyes at all, and acted as if it was a matter of course. When the villagers heard this, they were even more angry. Really, these scum, who betrayed their ancestors back then, still have the nerve to come back now. Asking for ancestral items. Where does the face come from? Let them go. Everyone roared. Murantian also looked extremely gloomy and said. Since those people left Muling village, they have nothing to do with Muling village. There is nothing that belongs to them here, but they not only violated the ancestral precepts, but also took away many ancestral items by force. Mu Jingshan shouted coldly. Old guy, you are slandering the ancestor of the wood spirit dynasty. This crime shall punish the 10 clans. Murantian just said in a deep voice. Go away, I won't give you anything here. Mu Jingshan's eyelids twitched, he didn't expect these natives to dare to reject him. You want to die? He is ready to kill. However, at this time Mu Jinyun came over, waved his hand, and stopped him. Mu Jinyun looked at Murantian and said calmly. At least we have some fate with our ancestors, and we don't want to take action. I would like to advise you to obediently hand over all the ancestral belongings in the village. Those things are not what you ants should have. As he spoke, a more powerful aura was released. This is the realm of refining gods. Melt the Tao, concentrate the mind, and refine the spirit. He is 2 realms higher than Murantian. Under this aura, everyone in the village turned pale and it was almost unbearable. This is a threat. But, right now, not far away, The sacrificial spirit of Muling village suddenly emitted a shadow, and the light enveloped the whole village. All the villagers felt that the pressure was instantly dissipated. Mu Jianyun was a little surprised and looked towards Laotang. Grapevines. Could it be that they grew from the waste seeds left behind when our ancestors left in the past? It is said that when the ancestors of the Muling dynasty and others left the wilderness, they took away many treasures, but left behind some grape seeds because those seeds had lost their vitality and were useless. Dad, look at the soil at the roots of the grapes. Mu Jingshan pointed directly at the roots of the grapevine, his eyes shining. The soil is crystal clear, like pearls. Since the last time, Mu Wanking brought a piece of spiritual soil, and after the endangered old vine absorbed it, its basic soil has also been improved, and it is extremely spiritual. When Mu Jianyun looked at it, he was also shocked. That soil is extremely extraordinary. Even in the entire Wood Spirit dynasty, there is no such treasure land. A flash of greed suddenly flashed through his heart. Is there really a treasure in the ancestral village? Dig it up. He shouted. There may be something good buried under the sacrifice tree. As he said that, he grabbed it with his big hand and grabbed it towards the grapevine. The shadow of the old vine pierced the sky, bringing up waves of powerful spiritual power to contend with Jianyun. Wherever the old vine passes, there seem to be giant green pythons, tigers, and other giant beasts accompanying them. They are very powerful and mysterious. A vine at the 8th or 9th level of concentration actually evolved into the prototype of some kind of technique. Mu Jianyun became even more solemn, which showed that this old vine had the potential to become the supreme sacrifice to the spirit. Treasure. Maybe, it's a treasure that can allow the ancestor of the Wood Spirit dynasty to break through. As long as he gets it, he won't have to enter the wilderness again, and the dilemma of the Wood Spirit dynasty can be solved. He takes action with all his strength. The two sides fight. However, Laotang's level was a big level lower than Mu Jianyun's. After all, Laotang couldn't hold on. The grape leaves fell one after another, and the old vines failed. Mu Jianyun landed calmly and sneered. Jingshan, do it. This vine must be dug away, and the soil must not be let go. The whole village must dig 3 feet into the ground. Mu Jingshan nodded, his eyes extremely hot. He stepped forward and grabbed the root of the spirit sacrifice. You are going too far. At this time, Mu Wanking rushed out of the crowd, stood in front of the spirit sacrifice, gritted her silver teeth, and said, "Get out. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." Hearing this, Mu Jingshan said coldly. "And, what a loud tone." As soon as he pointed it out, he would kill Mu Wanking. Mu Wanking's spiritual power burst out, and the Saiyan's spiritual power stretched for dozens of steps. In an instant, countless plant and tree essences gathered from the surrounding mountains and forests. Huh? Stop it! At this time, Mu Jianyun shouted loudly, his voice fell, and he had blocked Mu Jingshan's attack. He stared at Mu Wanking, his eyes full of disbelief, and said, "Are you, a wood spirit celestial body?" In an instant, countless thoughts flashed through his mind. The wood spirit celestial body, that is a legendary physique. I didn't expect that in this small mountain village, there would be such a genius. There must be a treasure here, and it is a divine object that can allow an indigenous girl to transform into a wood spirit celestial body. If we can get it, it will not only allow our ancestors to break through the shackles, but it will also allow countless wizards to appear in our court. He said greedily. Tell me, what exactly made you transform into a wood spirit celestial body? Hand it over and I'll spare your life. Approaching step by step, Mu Wanking said, do you really want it? Mu Jianyun said, of course. Mu Wanking took a deep breath and said, okay, I'll give it to you. After saying that, she suddenly took out a linen bag. It looked like the most ordinary rice bag, dusty and even old. However, when her spiritual power was injected into it, the bag suddenly enlarged infinitely. It's like you can hold the world together. The bag instantly fell towards Xuanhuan. No. What is this? The moment Xuanhuan's expression changed drastically, he clearly felt that this bag contained supreme power. He resisted with all his strength, and his cultivation level at the 8th level of the God-refining realm exploded, but it was of no use. The next moment, he screamed and disappeared from where he was and was put into the bag. Xuanhuan gritted her teeth and waved, and the bag flew back into her hand. When everyone saw this scene, they were shocked. A cultivator in the peeping realm can actually take in a great master in the God-refining realm. What kind of divine weapon is this rice bag? In the Muling dynasty, someone lost his voice and spoke. 2 updates today. I'm on a business trip. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 433. Everyone was stunned and looked at Xuanhuan in shock. Xuanhuan, the dignified guardian elder of the Muling dynasty. Just like that, someone took it away in a bag. Life or death is uncertain. Then, what is that? It's just a bag, but it actually has such terrifying power. I had the illusion just now that that bag, I'm afraid it can hold the sky. Everyone in the Muling dynasty had fear written in their eyes. No, no. Hurry, run away. Xuanhuan was even more shocked. He turned around and ran away, not daring to stop at all. Even if his father is caught, he can't save him, let alone save him. The only option is to escape back to the Muling dynasty. Seeing Xuanhuan, everyone ran away, and the others dispersed like birds and beasts, as anxious as a bereaved dog, and as busy as a fish that slipped through the net. In the blink of an eye, everyone in the Wood Spirit dynasty fled. The villagers all had complicated expressions. This rice bag is actually so effective. The one who gave me this rice bag is probably not a god. I suspect that if we use this bag to store our rice will become magical rice. Everyone looked at the bag in Xuanhuan's hand. Even Xuanhuan and Xuanhuan were stunned for a long time. The rice bag can harvest a god-level powerhouse? They couldn't turn around for a while. The rice sent by Senior Li is extremely extraordinary, but I didn't expect that even this bag is a treasure. Xuanhuan spoke complicatedly. No, Senior Li definitely didn't do this unintentionally. He must have planned it until today. Xuanhuan was extremely excited and said. Xuanhuan, Senior Li really cares about you and our Muling village. When Xuanhuan heard this, she thought that Senior Li had secretly figured everything out, so he had already given him the treasure to resolve the crisis, and she admired him infinitely. She was forced to have no choice but to throw out the rice bag at random. I didn't expect it to actually work. Senior Li is really too strong. Speed up your training, the Wood Spirit dynasty may not be willing to accept it. At this time, the old voice of the sacrificial spirit sounded, reminding. Everyone in the village looked stern when they heard this. Xuanhuan gritted his teeth and said. Give each person a grain of rice. Everyone needs to be promoted quickly. The dynasty outside seems to have completely forgotten their old friendship. We need to protect our village. Everyone yelled. Xuanhuan led his men and horses and escaped from the wilderness in embarrassment. They headed directly towards the Wood Spirit dynasty. The Muling dynasty. Oh no! A quick voice came from the Soul Lantern Palace. An old man pissed himself and ran into the main hall and said. Your Majesty, there is something wrong with Elder Xuanhuan's soul lamp. The soul fire is flickering. He is between life and death. When all the officials in the main hall heard this, they all gasped. Xuanhuan, something happened to the evil sect, the evil sect's wilderness. The ancestral teachings have eyes, and there will be great disaster, is it true? Everyone was uncertain, with a hint of fear on their faces. This Mu Jinglong went with the divine Dharma body and disappeared. Now the guardian elder went again and disappeared again. Again and again, who is not afraid? The wooden emperor's eyes were green and his eyes were startled for a moment. At this moment, his heart trembled. What is there in the wilderness? Is it really weird? Your Majesty, Mu Jingshan is back. At this time, a message came through the palace gate. Send him to the palace immediately. Mu Qingkang spoke immediately. Everyone also turned their heads. Mu Jingshan finally walked into the main hall, but his face was extremely worried and embarrassed. Holy Lord, please save my father. Mu Jingshan knelt down and cried bitterly. What's going on? Tell me quickly. Mu Qingkang spoke hastily. Mu Jingshan wiped away his tears and immediately explained what happened in the wilderness. When they heard about the sacrifice of spirits and spiritual soil, everyone was extremely surprised. What? There is a treasure in the ancestral village. The grape seeds left by our ancestors in the wilderness in the past actually grew into sacrifices to the spirits. Being able to raise such sacrificial spirits, it seems that there is really a treasure in the ancestral village. Immediately after hearing Mu Wangking take action, Mu Jinyun was taken away in a bag, and everyone was shocked. A bag, in the hands of a small cultivator in the peeping realm, can actually contain a great master in the god-refining realm. This is incredible. This is a treasure left by our ancestors. It's too much, it's too much. Those ants in the wilderness are alive today because their ancestors left treasures, and they actually use them against us. That bag is the most precious treasure of our clan. It must not be left in the wilderness. We must get it back. Everyone spoke one after another, their eyes burning. In the hands of a cultivator in the peeping realm, it can be so powerful. What if it is obtained by the dynasty? It's simply an invincible foundation. Your Majesty, I dare to ask your Majesty to personally conquer the treasure and directly recapture the treasure. At the same time, we can also rescue Elder Mu Jinyun. At this time, another old man spoke loudly. This old man's name was Mu Zhenfeng, and he had always been on good terms with Mu Jinyun. No. At this time, Mu Zhenkong, who had previously proposed to take everyone from Muling village out of the wilderness, stepped forward and said, Your Majesty, we share the same blood as our ancestral village. If Mu Jinyun and others hadn't been domineering and bullying, things wouldn't be like this. Your Majesty, please think again. His eyes were full of worry. Mu Huangmokingkang, with extremely gloomy eyes, looked at Mu Jingshan and said, What's the specific situation of the girl? Mu Jingshan was startled for a moment, then suddenly slapped his forehead and said, Yes, that girl seems to be a wood spirit celestial body. Wood spirit celestial body. As soon as these four words came out, the palace was completely detonated. What? Wood spirit celestial body. Are you telling the truth? Do you know that there are only one or two wood spirit celestial bodies in the entire history of the Great Ruins realm? Are you sure it's the wood spirit celestial body, not the wood spirit mysterious body? Everyone's breathing was quickened. Mu Qingkang stared at Mu Jingshan and said, Are you sure? Mu Jingshan nodded and said, Your Majesty, I can't be wrong, my father said it himself. Moreover, when the girl took action, thousands of trees bowed their heads and the essence of the grass and trees gathered. This is indeed a sign of the wood spirit celestial body. An incredible look flashed across Mu Qingkang's eyes. In the wilderness, a wood spirit celestial body was actually born. At this moment, there was a trace of jealousy in his heart. Why is such a peerless genius not in the court? Why, not her own daughter? If his daughter Mu Wangxiu had such qualifications, what would the Muling dynasty have to worry about? By then, I'm afraid it will be the Qingyang sect asking for a marriage from the Muling dynasty. Your Majesty, capture this woman immediately. There must be gods and treasures in the great wilderness ancestral village. Your Majesty, launch an army and fight. I would like to be a striker. At this moment, the ministers shouted. Their eyes were burning, and greed lingered in everyone's heart. That is the wood spirit celestial body, the legendary physique that can become a god. How could a mere deserted village have such a blessing? If we capture this village, maybe many births will occur in the imperial court. Who cannot be greedy? No. Mu Zhenkong spoke loudly, his face full of eagerness, and said. How can it be so perverse? Your Majesty, we can't make the same mistake again and again. The peerless genius in Muling village is from the same race as us, so he is the genius of our race. We should immediately go to apologize, and invite them to come to the imperial court. We must never be so arrogant, greedy, and ignorant again. However, his extremely sincere words only attracted cold looks from everyone around him. Mu Zhenkong, I really doubt whether you are an undercover agent sent by the Dawang Muling village. Mu Zhenfeng spoke directly and said. Everything in that village belongs to us, but you actually asked His Majesty to condescend to apologize. Invite them. Who would agree with such a reverse move? He shouted and asked. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a woman's voice suddenly came from outside the hall. I agree. Everyone turned around suddenly. I saw a beautiful woman in a palace skirt, Shi Shiren, walking towards me. Next to her, there was a girl in a light blue dress. The girl had a beautiful face, her naturally beautiful face was lightly covered with makeup, and she looked really enchanting and beautiful. Seeing these two people coming, the officials immediately saluted. See the queen, see the princess. See the queen, see the princess. I just got home from the bus, and I haven't written anything else yet, I'm still writing. In addition, some people said that I said some time ago that I was in military training, and now I said that I was on a business trip, which is obviously lying to everyone. What I want to say is that I am not a student, and I am not a student who needs military training. I have been participating in training this month, and the training begins with 3 days of military training, followed by study and business trips. Well, that's it anyway. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 434. The Empress of the Muling Dynasty, Xuanhuan, and the Princess Mu Wangzia walked into the main hall together. All the officials saluted respectfully, but there was a hint of surprise and confusion in everyone's eyes. Queen, you just said, do you agree? Mu Zhenfeng raised his eyes and looked at Xuanhuan in confusion. Even on the dragon chair, Mu Qingkang looked at it lightly. Xuanhuan looked calm and said. Yes, I agree with Elder Mu Jianyun's point of view. The imperial dynasty and the ancestral village are of the same strain and cannot be at war with each other. Furthermore, since a prodigy like Muling's celestial body has appeared in the ancestral village, we should immediately invite that prodigy to enter the imperial dynasty. After all, only in the court can the Muling celestial body receive the best treatment. She looked at the emperor above her and said. Your Majesty, please send someone to invite the ancestral village. Especially the wood spirit celestial body. If she can enter the court, it will be a blessing to our dynasty. The emperor frowned slightly, seeming a little confused. However, the queen had already continued, when the time comes, Wangziu will also have a companion who can learn from the wood spirit celestial body. Mu Qingkang was thoughtful, suddenly waved his hand and said. I'm sure. According to the Queen's wishes, Zhenkong, my beloved, could you please come and take a trip? I extend my emperor's greetings and apologies to the ancestral village and invite them to come." Hearing this, all the officials in the court were stunned. "Your Majesty, actually made such a decision?" "No, no. Holy Lord, you are so kind. People from the ancestral village dare to attack Elder Mu Xuanhuan. How can we tolerate them anymore? Your Majesty, think twice." The ministers headed by Mu Zhenfeng tried their best to dissuade him. In their opinion, this is too time-consuming, laborious, and unpleasant. It is obvious that he can directly lead the army to pacify Muling village, and the treasure can still be divided up when the time comes. Now that the people of Muling village have become guests of the royal family, it is difficult for them to rob them. But Mu Zhenkong was extremely excited. "Your Majesty is wise. My lord, I will definitely live up to my great trust." After saying that, he immediately stood up and said, "I'm leaving." He turned around and prepared to leave. But the queen suddenly said, "Zhenkong Protector, the matter is serious. I will send the Imperial Forest Army General Mu Long to go with you." The general of the Royal Forest Army, Mu Long, is the queen's confidant. A flash of doubt flashed in Mu Zhenkong's eyes, but he still said, "I obey the decree." The meeting has dispersed. There were only 3 members of the royal family left in the main hall. The emperor looked at the queen calmly and said, "Tongruo, now, can you tell me what your intention is?" He knew the queen too well. You must know that the queen has always stood behind Mu Zhenfeng and others. This time, he actually supported Mu Zhenkong. Moreover, he heard that there was an overtone to what the queen said in court. Shangguan Tongruo looked at Mu Qingkang and said, "Everything I do, is for my daughter, for the dynasty." After leaving the dynasty, Mu Zhenkong and the forest general Mu Long flew along with their troops. Soon we entered the wilderness. Following the route provided by Mu Jingshan, they moved forward and at dusk, they were close to Muling village. "Elder, why are you in such a hurry?" Mu Zhenkong's general Mu Zhon couldn't help but speak. "We can't do it without rushing. Mu Xuanhuan's domineering attitude has made the village hostile and wary of the dynasty. If I were a member of the village, I would flee immediately in order to avoid the dynasty's revenge. This is what worries him the most. He was afraid of the people in his ancestral village and was scared to leave by the imperial court. At that time, in the vast wilderness, where to pursue? In the past, our ancestor Mu Xianqing and our second ancestor Mu Xianjian followed the ancestor Mu Xianfeng and left the wilderness. Although they founded the dynasty, ancestor Xianqing has always violated the ancestral oath. I was depressed and restless, and in my later years I thought about my ancestral village and died." Mu Zhenkong murmured, a little sad. The ancestors of their lineage, Mu Xianqing, the ancestor of Mu Xuanhuan's lineage, Mu Xianjian, and Mu Xianfeng, the peerless strongmen from Muling village, came out of the wilderness together in the past and founded the dynasty. Now that thousands of years have passed, Mu Xianjian and Mu Xianqing have come to an end and withered away. Only Mu Xianfeng is left, still struggling to support them, but they have also encountered the biggest bottleneck. If they can't break through, I'm afraid they won't have many years left to live, so the Wood Spirit dynasty is anxious to enter the wilderness to find treasures. Mu Zhenkong's eyes flashed with determination, and he said, "Now that we finally have the opportunity, we must not leave any regrets anymore. We must let our ancestral village leave the wilderness and enjoy the benefits of the dynasty." Hearing this, Mu Zhon couldn't help but nodded deeply. But next to him, the Imperial Forest General Mu Long only looked indifferent. "Elder, we're here." At this time, a soldier in front spoke. Mu Zhenkong immediately dismounted his horse. When he saw the village under the mountain, his eyes suddenly felt a little excited. He stepped forward directly and said, "Mu Zhenkong, the guardian elder of the Muling dynasty, and Mu Long, the general of the forest, came to pay homage to the ancestral village on the orders of the Mu Emperor." He spoke loudly. In the village. The villagers are preparing for war. When they heard the news, they immediately rushed out of the village with their hands in their hands. Is the bastard from the Muling dynasty here again? Fight them! Everyone shouted. Mu Rantian, Mu Nanshan, and Mu Wanking were the first to step forward. Mu Rantian looked at Mu Zhenkong and said coldly. Our Muling village has no relationship with the Muling dynasty as early as 1,000 years ago. Now, your people are so arrogant and domineering, trying to destroy our village and steal our things, it's really too much. Now that your elder has been captured, either write a peace treaty and never invade our village, otherwise, don't blame us for killing. He waved his hand, and 2 villagers immediately walked up with an old man on their backs. The old man was dying, like a disabled person, his face was pale, and his whole body was trembling. It was Mu Xuanhuan. Mu Wanking released him from the rice bag, but he was completely disabled, his whole body cultivation was lost, and his consciousness was even unclear. Mu Rantian was old and solemn, leaving his life as a bargaining chip in negotiations. After all, compared with an imperial dynasty, their Muling village is still too weak. Peace is the best. Mu Xuanhuan raised his eyes at this moment and screamed when he saw Mu Zhenkong and Mu Long. Brother Zhenkong, General Malong, hurry up, kill all these ants, kill all these ants, take revenge for me. His eyes were filled with hatred. My own generation of protectors ended up like this. However, Mu Zhenkong shouted loudly and said, shut up. Mu Xuanhuan, you are bold, domineering, and forget your ancestors. You deserve to be reduced to this. He stepped forward, saluted directly towards Mu Rantian, Mu Wanking and others, with an extremely sincere face, and said, everyone, on behalf of the Wood Emperor, I apologize to you. You suffered. He spoke from the heart. Everyone in Muling village was shocked when they saw this. What's going on? Aren't you here to fight? Mu Rantian frowned and said, sir, what does this mean? Mu Zhenkong stood up and said, Mu Xuanhuan's attack on Xuan was purely selfish, and the imperial court will not tolerate it. Now, Emperor Mu and the Queen have specially sent me here to apologize and, to ask Xuan to save the country. The wilderness, it's too painful. Mu Rantian and others were even more surprised. Please ask the ancestral village to come out of the wilderness. Everyone looked at each other. No. We will not betray our ancestors' instructions. Yes, we will not be like you traitors. Don't even think about dragging us into the water. Unlike the Muling dynasty, Muling village adheres to the ancestral precepts. They don't change easily. Mu Rantian also spoke and said, we accept the apology, but the matter of leaving the village, don't mention it, you can go. Reject. Mu Zhenkong was anxious and said, this is for your own good. The evil power of the great wilderness is extremely terrifying. The higher the realm, the greater the influence. If not for this, how could the 3 ancestors escape from the great wilderness in the past? They were trying to survive. Mu Zhenkong pointed at Mu Wanking and said, furthermore, an unparalleled celestial body has finally awakened in the ancestral village. If it sinks into the wilderness, it will only be depressed for the rest of its life. A trace of hesitation flashed across Mu Rantian's face. This is true. The evil power of the great wilderness is terrifying. In the wilderness, it is extremely difficult for even masters in the realm of God refining to appear. Here, I'm afraid it will really affect Mu Wanking's growth. Correct. At this time, Mu Long, who had been silent all this time, suddenly stepped forward and said, 4 or 5 years ago, did the village send a man and a woman to the outside world to find a way to prolong the lives of the spirits? Hearing this, Mu Rantian was startled and suddenly looked at Mu Long. Have you seen them? He lost his voice and spoke. The life of the sacrificial spirit cannot be extended, so as early as a few years ago, Muling village began to look for various treasures. At that time, Mu Wanking's parents, the two strongest middle-aged men in the village, walked out of the wilderness. Never return. At this moment, did you actually hear the news about them? Mu Wanking also immediately looked over nervously. Mu Long said. Only the queen knows the news about those two people. How about you all come with us to the imperial court and meet the queen? There was a hint of cunning in his eyes. This is why the queen asked him to come. With this handle, everything will be foolproof. Even Mu Zhenkong next to him was startled for a moment and said. Why didn't I know about such things? The queen has already seen the people coming out of the ancestral village? I'm sorry, Protector Zhenkong, I'm afraid only the queen can answer this question for you. Mu Long spoke calmly. Mu Zhenkong suddenly had a layer of gloom in his eyes. Muling village, Mu Rantian, and others hesitated. Mu Wanking, however, had already stepped out. She gritted her teeth and said. I will go to the dynasty with you. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 435. Mu Wanking agreed. Wanking, no, the people outside are cunning and ruthless. It's too dangerous to leave the wilderness. Wanking, don't listen to them. People in the village are admonishing. They don't trust the Muling dynasty. Mu Rantian also said. Girl, you. Mu Wanking said firmly. Grandpa village chief, I want to find my parents. When Mu Rantian heard this, he let out a long sigh. Village chief, Wanking, and I should go there. Mu Nanshan stepped forward and said, Nanjing and the others have been missing for many years. Now that we have clues, we should look for them. Mu Nanjing, Mu Wanking's father. Good. Mu Rantian could only agree in the end. When Mu Zhenkong saw this, he was also happy. Let Mu Nanshan and Mu Wanking go to the dynasty first, and then they can gradually gain the trust of the villagers, and the ancestral village can finally escape this evil wilderness. Hey, even we, will have to violate the teachings of our ancestors again one day. Mu Rantian felt a little uncomfortable. As far as we know, the reason why our ancestors refused to leave the wilderness was because they were afraid that we would bring disaster to the outside world that would destroy the world. Mu Zhenkong did explain, saying, after all, in the past, our ancestors found a lot of things in the depths of the wilderness, but they also saw terrifying and strange things, that's why they left a warning that they were not allowed to enter the wilderness again, and they were not allowed to leave wilderness. But in fact, since the founding of the dynasty, no such big disaster has happened to the outside world. You can rest assured that the outside world is safe. He knows many secrets. Mu Rantian could only nod his head and said, I hope so. Soon, Mu Wanking, Mu Nanshan, Mu Zhenkong and others left. Before leaving, Mu Wanking left the rice bag in the village. All the way out of the wilderness. Walking out of the god burial wasteland, he appeared on the edge of the town in the eastern wasteland. Mu Nanshan and Mu Wanking were both in a daze. The inside and outside of the wilderness are like two worlds. In the outside world, there is no oppressive evil force. Mu Nanshan murmured. Outside the wilderness, it is indeed more suitable for practice. Go to the imperial dynasty, where the spiritual energy will be more abundant. Mu Zhenkong spoke. That evening. Elder Mu Zhenkong is back. A voice spread throughout the imperial capital of the Muling dynasty. The imperial capital is paying attention. Mu Huang Mu Qingkang and Queen Shang Guantongruo went out to greet him in person, followed by hundreds of officials. Mu Zhenkong led Mu Nanshan and Mu Wanking to the front of the main hall. Ha ha ha, I am so relieved that someone from my ancestral village has finally arrived. Mu Qingkang walked over first, with a smile on his face. Your Majesty, I am glad that I have lived up to my command. This is Mu Nanshan of Muling village, and she. Mu Zhenkong introduced, she is the awakened wood spirit celestial body in Zukan, Mu Wonking. Hearing this, everyone's eyes fell on Mu Wonking. Wood spirit celestial body. It was such a girl who awakened. Pity. All the officials had a look of jealousy, envy, and regret in their eyes. Is that Wonking? Queen Shangguan Tongruo had already walked out and said with a kind smile. It's great. Ever since the emperor and I heard the news about the ancestral village, we have been really happy. Now that you are here, it is our blessing. From today on, you are part of the dynasty. She waved her hand and said. Have a banquet. Tonight, your majesty and I will have a good time with Wonking and the others to catch up on old times. The imperial city suddenly became lively. There was a big feast that night. Mu Qingkang and Shangguan Tongruo sat with Mu Nanshan and Mu Wonking in person. Everyone. Mu Qingkang raised his glass and said. It is my wish to make Mu Wonking the princess and Mu Nanshan the Marquis of Nanshan. The officials were even more shocked. This kind of courtesy is extremely high. Many people who were hiding secrets shook their heads and gradually gave up the idea. But Mu Nanshan and Mu Wonking were a little at a loss. They had been in the wilderness and had never been exposed to such a thing. They were a little confused for a while. Sister Wonking. At this time, Princess Mu Wangzhou came over with a glass of wine and said with a smile. You will also be a princess from now on. I am so happy for you. Come on, sister, let me toast you. Mu Wonking could only raise her glass in embarrassment. In the next few days, Mu Nanshan and Mu Wonking were arranged to live in the palace. With rich clothes and fine food, the emperor and empress showed great care. Almost all costs are the best. Mu Wonking's bedroom was arranged next to Mu Wangzhou's bedroom. Mu Wangzhou showed unparalleled enthusiasm and came to Mu Wonking every day to build a closer relationship. Princess, may I ask, do you know that a man and a woman came to the dynasty a few years ago to find a way to save the sacrificial spirits? Mu Wonking has asked Mu Wangzhou this question many times. Sister Wonking, don't be anxious. Only my mother and father know this. They will receive you in a few days. You can just ask them in person. Mu Wangzhou smiled and said. Come on, sister, this is the eye silkworm clothing I knitted for you with my own hands. Sister, I made some pastries today. Let me give you a taste. Mu Wangzhou cared about Mu Wonking almost meticulously. But Mu Wonking always refused the royal family's care. She almost had no use for the silks and satins that were sent to her. On this day, Mu Wangzhou came to Mu Wonking's palace crying. Princess, what's wrong with you? Mu Wonking asked. Mu Wangzhou cried. Sister, I may be annulled. My father betrothed me to Leng Xiaofeng, the young master of the Qingyang sect, but my qualifications are too poor. The Qingyang sect may not look down on me. It would be fine if my physique could get better. I don't need the wood spirit celestial body. As long as I can awaken the wood spirit mysterious body, it will be enough. Her big eyes were full of hope. She looked at Mu Wonking and said. Sister, can you help me? When Mu Wonking heard this, she just sighed. I'm sorry princess, there's nothing I can do. The fact that I can awaken the wood spirit celestial body is a gift from Senior Li. What qualifications do I have to give the things given by Senior Li to others? Besides, she didn't bring any treasures with her, all of them were left in Muling village. Sister, can you help me, please, I really need this marriage, and so does the dynasty. We are all a family. As long as you help me awaken the wood spirit mysterious body, I will definitely convince my father to pass the throne to you in the future, okay? Mu Wangzhou kept begging. Mu Wonking also had a hint of unbearability in her eyes, but she could only shake her head and said. I'm sorry princess, I really can't help it. Hearing this, Mu Wangzio's eyes flashed with deep disappointment. She left. That night. Is Princess Wanking here? A father-in-law came and said with a smile. Princess Wanking, the queen has summoned you. Mu Wanking hurriedly followed the father-in-law. She had been waiting for this day for too long. Soon, the father-in-law took her to the queen's palace. In the palace, Mu Wangzio was sitting next to Queen Xuanhuan Tongruo. Xuanhuan Tongruo smiled, looked at Mu Wanking, and said, Wanking, are you still used to being in the palace during this period of time? Mu Wanking said, thank you for your concern, Queen, everything is fine. She bit her lower lip lightly and said, Queen, Wanking dares to ask, where did the man and woman who came to the dynasty to find a way to save the sacrificial spirit go? But Xuanhuan Tongruo did not answer. He just sighed slightly and said, Wanking, we are all a family, right? You also know about Wangziu. Your Majesty and I treat you well, so I hope you won't be so selfish. Can you tell me how to awaken the wood spirit celestial body? The dynasty has become stronger, which is also a good thing for you. Hearing this, Mu Wanking was startled. She heard it? How to awaken the wood spirit celestial body and exchange news about your parents. She smiled miserably, shook her head and said, Queen Chi, I can awaken the wood spirit celestial body, but it's just a gift from others. How can I know such secrets? There seemed to be a trace of regret in Xuanhuan Tongruo's eyes, and he said, Are you really not going to say it? It's a pity that all my sincerity was fed to the dogs. She waved. Suddenly, an old man came out from behind. Mu Zhenfeng. The entire palace was shrouded in some kind of energy, and was isolated from the outside world. Queen, you. Mu Wanking's expression changed. I have given you glory and wealth, and you should repay the favor. Xuanhuan Tongruo's face was extremely cold and he said, You are heartless, so don't blame me for being unrighteous. I will take what you don't give me. Mu Wanking's expression changed drastically, and she turned around to escape. However, Mu Zhenfeng had already struck out with one palm. The oncoming powerful spiritual power directly knocked her away. Boom! She hit the ground hard and vomited blood. Let's do it. Xuanhuan Tongruo spoke coldly and said, Cut open her heart, take out her precious blood, and make my daughter perfect. The words are as cold as a knife. In Mu Zhenfeng's hand, a cold dagger with silver light appeared. Beside Xuanhuan Tongruo, Mu Wangzio's pretty face showed a hint of excitement as she said, hurry up, I want to become a wood spirit celestial body, I can't wait. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 436. Huh? No. Why are there so many guards outside today? Today, Munanshan felt something was wrong. There are many more strong men. Years of surviving in the wilderness made him wary of this situation. The other party cannot be trying to protect themselves. Rather it's more like, guard yourself? Not good. Munanshan's expression changed, he suddenly thought of something, his face darkened, and he rushed outside. Nanshan Ho, you should not go out today. One of the guards spoke directly. Get away. Munanshan shouted loudly and struck out with a palm, and the guard was directly knocked away. Trap him. Take it, the queen has an order, he will not be allowed to leave even half a step today. The strong men around him immediately gathered around him. Munanshan was even more shocked and angry, he had really been guessed. The other party has a conspiracy. And trapping myself here probably has only one purpose. Wanking. Muling dynasty, you bunch of beasts, I will fight with you. All the strength of Munanshan's Rongdao realm burst out. At the same time, an old vine appeared in his hand. It was taken from the sacrificial spirit before leaving. In an instant, an overwhelming old vine appeared behind him. There are about 10 people in the Rongdao realm around him, and there are even 4 or 5 strong men in the concentration realm. Kill. If you want to resist, kill him. They shouted angrily. Munichen was mad with hatred and took action with all his strength. This clone of grapevine, which possesses the state of concentration, penetrates the sky at this moment, facing 4 strong men in the state of concentration, passing across it, as if it is carrying the roar of endless alien beasts. Puff. No. These 4 powerful men in the concentration realm were bleeding instantly. The clone of sacrifice spirit is too strong. Please protect the elders, please protect the elders. Someone shouted. This kind of sacrificial spirit can only be suppressed by a strong person in the realm of refining gods. And at this moment, Father-in-law, what is the matter with me that the Holy One wants to see you for? Mu Zhenkong looked confused. Today, an order was sent from the palace saying that the Holy Spirit had summoned him. However, he came for a long time but never saw the emperor. Elder, just wait. My father-in-law was just stalling. And at this moment, suddenly, outside, the sound of fighting came, and violent spiritual energy fluctuations spread. Are there strong men fighting? Mu Zhenkong's expression changed, and he left the palace without hesitation. When he walked out of the palace gate, he saw a powerful grape shadow fighting with 2 old men outside the palace gate. Those 2 old men were the elders guarding the palace, and both were in the realm of refining gods. And beside him, Munichen was fighting bloody battles. What happened? Stop. Mu Zhenkong's expression changed drastically, and he took action directly, landing next to Munichen. With a wave of his hand, the group of people who were besieging Munichen and thought they were strong were all suppressed. What happened? He asked, but his old face was trembling. Could it be that the ministers in the court were desperate to snatch the treasure? However, Munichen raised his eyes, hatred burst out, and there was blood in his mouth, and said, "Fraud! Where did you take Wanking? Hand her over, hand her over." His body was covered in scars. From the outside all the way to here, he almost relied on his will to support himself. Hearing this, Mu Zhenkong turned around suddenly, grabbed a guard next to him, and said, "Tell me, what's going on?" The guard looked pale and said, "We don't know, we are just following orders and cannot let him leave even a step." Mu Zhenkong's face was extremely angry. Whose order? Queen. Mu Zhenkong suddenly threw the man out, then waved his sleeves, and crazy spiritual power burst out. The 2 powerful gods in the god-refining realm who were suppressing the soul sacrifice clone in the air were all repelled. Mu Zhenkong, what are you doing? How dare you help the enemy? The 2 men roared. But Mu Zhenkong's face was boiling with murderous intent, and he said, "Get away. Otherwise I will kill you too." His heart had completely sunk, and he had a premonition that he might have made a big mistake. The expressions of the 2 of them changed. They felt Mu Zhenkong's determination and did not dare to stop him. The 2 of them were only at the 3rd level of the god-refining realm, but Mu Zhenkong was a strong man at the 7th level of the god-refining realm. "Come with me, let's go to the queen's palace." Mu Zhenkong spoke. Munichen and the spirit sacrifice clone immediately followed. Not long after, he appeared outside the queen's palace. On the 3 floors inside and outside, there are all powerful people close to the queen. There are 4 people guarding the powerful ones in the Dao fusion realm, the condensing spirit realm, and even the god-refining realm. Almost half of the top combat power of the wood spirit dynasty is here. Mu Zhenkong, what do you want to do? The queen has something important to do. No one can disturb her. Leave. Don't force us to take action. Several powerful men spoke coldly. However, Mu Zhenkong was extremely angry and said, "Get out of my way." His big hand suddenly struck down. The two sides immediately started fighting. Kill. Munichen even rushed in with the spirit sacrifice clone. There was a scuffle. Boom. Mu Zhenkong struck down with a palm, and the two powerful men in the realm of refining gods could hardly resist it. Mu Zhenkong, you are from the imperial dynasty. Is it worth working so hard for an outsider? One of the old men shouted loudly. Outsider? Mu Zhenkong gritted his teeth and said. She has the same ancestry as us and is a genius in the clan. She came here because she trusted me, but she is going to be killed by you. I will fight you until death. Kill, kill, kill. On his body, a green wood seal will appeared. Ancestral technique. Are you crazy? The expressions of the four powerful men in the realm of refining gods all changed greatly, and they hurriedly retreated. Because Mu Zhenkong was really desperate at this moment. His blood energy was invincible, and he was shaking step by step. The greenwood seal fell suddenly, and the steps in front of the queen's palace were all broken into pieces. The terrifying aura swept towards the queen's palace, as if it was going to blow up the entire queen's palace. However, at this moment, an equally powerful spiritual power came from the palace and resisted Mu Zhenkong's Aoki seal. The front door of the queen's bedroom was opened. I saw Queen Shi Shiren walking out with her daughter. Beside them, Mu Zhenfeng followed with his hands down. Everyone turned their heads and stared away. Mu Zhenkong, you are so brave. Are you planning to rebel? Shangguan Tongruo spoke coldly. Mu Zhenkong looked at the queen and others, but his eyes instantly fell on Mu Wangziu. His eyes were shocked and he said. Princess Wangziu, you. The queen said coldly. Wangziu is the genius of our wood spirit dynasty, wood spirit celestial body. After she finished speaking, Mu Wangziu took a step forward, her face filled with pride, and her spiritual power was released instantly. Science spiritual power. In the palace, the grass and trees are singing in harmony. Everyone present felt a spiritual affinity. As if to surrender. Wood spirit celestial body. Princess Wangziu has awakened the wood spirit celestial body. Great, great. Everyone in the venue was ecstatic. But Mu Zhenkong's old eyes were trembling. His heart felt like a knife, and an inexplicable sadness and anger spread throughout his body. You deprived Mu Wangking of his heavenly blood. He asked tremblingly. You are wrong. The queen said coldly. Everything in the dynasty belongs to the royal family. That bitch's blood belongs to my daughter. How can I take it away from her? Mu Wangziu said proudly. I have become a wood spirit celestial body. From today on, I will be invincible in the world. Mu Zhenkong, kneel down quickly and apologize to me. I can still spare your life. In the air, Mu Zhenkong suddenly laughed miserably. He laughed loudly and trembled all over. Conspiracy, everything is a conspiracy. You asked me to go to the ancestral village from the beginning, just to take away the heavenly blood of the wood spirit celestial body. I actually took your sweet words as my sincerity. I heard her. I originally wanted to benefit my ancestral village, and I wanted to give the wood spirit celestial body a better growth environment. But I didn't expect it. It's a big mistake. Even if I die, I won't have the face to face my ancestors. He looked up to the sky and cried bitterly, feeling so sad. Today, I, Mu Zhenkong, break up with the imperial dynasty, and we will fight until death, until death. He exploded with all his strength and killed Mu Wangziu. Bring her blood back. He roared. How dare you attack the genius of our clan? Guard the wood spirit celestial body. How dare you be so cruel? The faces of everyone in the Mu Ling dynasty changed drastically, and they tried their best to take action. However, Mu Zhenkong was already crazy at this moment. He is burning with life, full of strength, and full of killing intent. Dare you? Beside the queen, Mu Zhenfeng stepped forward and struck Mu Zhenkong with a palm. His cultivation level is basically on par with Mu Zhenkong. However, the next moment he was blown away by Mu Zhenkong, vomiting blood. Mu Zhenkong will destroy Mu Wangziu. Mu Wangziu's beautiful face turned pale. However, at this moment, a cold voice came. Elder Zhenkong, that's enough. A green divine power fell instantly, protecting Mu Wangziu. A majestic and heroic figure has appeared. The Wood King, the wood is green. At this moment, he finally appeared. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 437. Fight until now. Mu Huang Mu Qingkang finally appeared. He was exuding green spiritual energy and was extremely powerful. He has perfected his spiritual refinement. There is only one step left to enter the realm of divine connection. Greetings to the Holy One. Greetings to the Holy One. Everyone shouted. However, Mu Zhenkong did not take a step back, staring at Mu Qingkang, the anger on his face not diminishing. You knew about this from beginning to end. But Mu Qingkang just said lightly. Are you questioning this emperor? Elder Zhenkong, all of this is for the dynasty. In any case, now Wangziu has become a wood spirit celestial body and is our only hope. It's disrespectful for you to attack her. It's natural to be superior. Mu Zhenkong smiled ferociously and said. Disrespectful? It's disrespectful, so what? Just you guys, why do you deserve my respect? Mu Qingkang, do you dare to fight? He is provoking, inviting a fight with the Wood Emperor. An unparalleled coldness flashed through Mu Wang's eyes. However, he did not move. Although his realm is stronger than Mu Zhenkong is burning his life at this moment. Once you stand up, I'm afraid you will have to pay the price. He was coldly silent and just waved his hand. In an instant, the sky rises. Two old men in grey robes appeared. One person held a broken spear in his hand. Another man was carrying a rusty iron axe. The aura is extremely terrifying, and the spear and iron axe look like they can kill gods. Two clan elders, you. Mu Zhenkong's expression changed. These two grey-robed old men are two clan elders, and they can be called the most important figures in the dynasty. Mu Hongyun, Mu Hongbo. They are second only to the ancestor Mu Xianfeng in the clan, and the things in their hands are the ancestral weapons they brought out from the wilderness in the past. Extremely powerful. At this moment, the ancestral weapon is actually aimed at me. Two clan elders, do you want to help the evil tyrant? Mu Zhenkong asked reluctantly. Zhenkong, the matter has come to this, it is useless to worry about right and wrong anymore. Clan elder Mu Hongbo shook his head and said. We understand your feelings, but Mu Wangziu is the hope of the dynasty. She will lead the dynasty to rise. If you take action against her, we will never agree. Mu Hongyun next to him also sighed. We've already lost a genius and can't afford to lose another one. At this moment, Mu Zhenkong was silent. He knows very well that alone, he cannot defy the will of heaven. Where is Wanking? Where is she? Mu Nanshan was covered in blood and asked in a trembling voice. Mu Hongyun looked at Xuanhuan Tongruo and said. Where's the girl? Xuanhuan Tongruo said. Still in the palace, unconscious. Clan elder Mu Hongyun nodded, looked at Mu Nanshan, and said. Our Muling dynasty is not heartless. Out of ancestral ties, you can take her away. Mu Nanshan stepped forward step by step, and Mu Zhenkong also followed him. The queen and others took a step back to get out of the way. Enter the queen's palace. In the dim hall, there was still a hint of blood in the air. Tick-tock. It was the sound of blood dripping on the ground. Mu Nanshan saw Mu Wanqing. She was tied to a bronze cross, dying and unconscious. Wanqing. Mu Nanshan's heart felt like a knife piercing his chest. He stepped forward tremblingly and untied Mu Wanqing. Uncle Nanshan. Mu Wanqing struggled to speak, but blood overflowed from her mouth. Don't talk, don't talk. Mu Nanshan's heart was almost broken. He hugged Mu Wanqing and said, "Let's go home, I'll take you home." Next to him, Mu Zhenkong's face was filled with grief, and he felt extremely guilty. They walked out of the queen's palace step by step. In the cold eyes of everyone, they left step by step. Get out of the capital. Ahem. Mu Wanqing coughed, blood kept pouring out, and her face became paler. Wanqing. Mu Nanshan was extremely anxious. If this continued, Mu Wanqing would die if he could not return to his ancestral village. Let me. Mu Zhenkong stepped forward and put his old hand on Mu Wanqing's wrist. The spiritual power was transmitted crazily, and his long gray hair turned completely white at a speed visible to the naked eye, and countless wrinkles appeared on his face in an instant. He is using his own life force to keep Mu Wanqing alive. Finally, Mu Wanqing's injuries stabilized somewhat. Mu Zhenkong staggered, almost unable to stand, like an old man who was about to die. You. Mu Nanshan looked at Mu Zhenkong and didn't know what to say. He could feel it, the wood was empty, the oil was exhausted and the lamp was dry. Take her away, go. Mu Zhenkong coughed and said with difficulty. Go back to the village and leave with the ancestral village. The royal family will definitely covet the ancestral village again. Walk. Mu Nanshan looked complicated, gritted his teeth, turned around and left quickly. After he left, Mu Zhenkong turned around with a sad smile on his face. Mu Zhenkong, just realized today that the consequences of good people being stupid are more terrible than bad people doing evil, ha ha, ha 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 ha. Mu Qingkang, Shangguan Tongruo, I will fight with you. He walked hard towards the imperial city in the rear, his steps were difficult, but he did not retreat even one step. He was determined to die. Just now, he was just trying to escort Mu Nanshan away safely. Now, he wants to atone for his sins. Atone for the great sins you have caused. Mu Nanshan moved forward rapidly without stopping. But fortunately, the expected pursuers did not arrive. Perhaps Mu Zhenkong held him back. Thinking of this, Mu Nanshan sighed in his heart. He could see that Mu Zhenkong was indeed a good person. But, it was taken advantage of. In the blink of an eye, he had entered the wilderness. The unique evil aura of the god burial wilderness hit his face, but it gave him a sense of security. Before arriving at the village. Village chief, something happened to Wanqing, please save Wanqing. He shouted in tears. The village was shaken. Countless villagers came out in a hurry. Mu Rantian even walked out. When he saw Mu Nanshan running towards the unconscious Mu Wanqing, he was stunned. What happened? He asked quickly. Mu Nanshan came closer and said. The Wood Spirit dynasty conspired and took away Wanqing's Wood Spirit heavenly blood. Wanqing is in danger. Hearing this, Mu Rantian felt almost fainting before his eyes. However, he forced himself to calm down and said. Quickly, please help me. Immediately, Mu Wanqing was placed under the sacrifice of the spirit. The light flowing from the old grape branches guides the life energy between heaven and earth, saving Mu Wanqing. Mu Wanqing's injury was further stabilized, but it still did not improve. Even when Mu Rantian took the divine rice given by Li Fan, Mu Wanqing couldn't take it. Finally, the sacrifice to the spirit stopped. The injuries are too serious, the blood has been taken away, there is nothing we can do. The old voice of offering sacrifices to the spirit sounded. The villagers were all very anxious. Sacrifice to the spirits, what should we do? Muninchen's heart felt like a knife piercing his heart. At this moment, perhaps only Senior Li can save her. The old sacrificial spirit sighed slightly. Hearing this, Murantian and Muninchin both nodded. Yes, Senior Li, let's go and beg Senior Li. Murantian stood up immediately. He and Munanchin took Mu walking towards the small mountain village. Not long after, they had arrived outside the mountain village. They stepped inside and arrived outside the small courtyard. Murantian opened his mouth and said, Murantian of Muling village, come to see Senior Li and ask Senior Li for help. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 438. In the small courtyard. Ever since Li Fan taught Nanfan and others new knowledge, they have been practicing it and have made rapid progress. The song Nanfan Wang Chen can make people realize the truth, which is very magical. In just a few days, she had broken through to the 4th level of the Fusion Dao realm. Zi Ling did not hesitate to give in. She is now painting with peace of mind every day. Especially, those native chickens, they cooperate every time. He lay down for a whole day, no matter how much she observed, he didn't dare to move. Her realm reached the 3rd level of Rongdao. Long Xuanhuan fished every day, and became more and more skillful in operating the water ladle. Wherever the water ladle passed, the carp jumped over from time to time. He gained a lot, and initially mastered some of the skills in the book, becoming a fishing master in 100 days, and jumped to the 4th level of Fusion Dao. Lin Zhuchen worked hard to practice the Talisman of Heaven, and the changes in the talisman became more and more mysterious and complex. Things are even worse in Qingchen. Now I spend all my time catching ants on the ground tomorrow. While catching ants, I had to deal with 3 spiders at the same time. I was so busy every day that I was sweating profusely. But the rewards are also great. Wu Date always felt aggrieved because he didn't learn anything new. However, he suddenly woke up after he was bitten by the big black dog again. On the road of body refining, he could probably reach death. Moreover, as his body continues to grow stronger, the strength of the big black dog's mouth is also increasing every time, which is completely enough for him to temper his body. What a painful realization. After being tempered by the teeth of the big black dog, he also entered the 3rd level of the Fusion Dao realm. Zhang Li plays chess every day. He is practicing defense. A chess field is formed around him. It is so mysterious that it is like a forbidden area that cannot be entered. Moreover, according to the observations of Nanfan and others, Zhang Li's improvement in chess skills actually made the old Xuanhuan's strength seem to also improve, as if some kind of seal had been unlocked. It hasn't chewed mud much recently and has gone dormant intermittently. In addition, the little animals in the courtyard are also making rapid progress. In addition to biting Wu Date every day, the big black dog would occasionally go to Nanfan's little wolf, as if to teach him something. When Lin Zhuchen began to practice the Talisman of Heaven, little Kailan's body occasionally flashed light, making progress together with him. Lu Rang finally mastered the basic method of fertilizing. His grass finally stopped wilting, and the leaves became more lush. On the edge of the leaves, a sawtooth grew, which was very sharp. Under Cao's leadership, Lu Rang also entered the 2nd level of the Rongdao realm. Rare plants such as the world tree, the Kirin fruit tree, the sacred blood grass, and the everlasting tree are also well taken care of by him. His pasture grew more luxuriantly, and his calf grew stronger. Since Gongya got the books that Li Fan gave her, she has indulged in them every day and practiced her skills. The kitchen has become her paradise. She was making delicious food for Li Fan and the others every day, and her cultivation level actually improved significantly, reaching the 4th level of Taoism. As for Xining, she still studied poetry with Li Fan. Without him, poetry is a world, which contains all kinds of Tao, thousands of Dharma, different perceptions of life, and profound principles of heaven and earth. You have almost mastered the basic skills of calligraphy. From today on, you can learn the second stage of calligraphy. Copy. Li Fan is also teaching Dugaiu fresh calligraphy skills. One horizontal stroke, one vertical stroke, one stroke, and one stroke, these are the basic skills of calligraphy. After mastering the basics, it is time to copy and learn the brushwork and structure of the ancients. As the saying goes, observe 1,000 swords and then recognize the weapon. Only by integrating the calligraphy techniques of thousands of famous artists into one can you create your own calligraphy avenue. This is a gradual process. As he spoke, he took out a stack of papers. On top of this paper is the rubbing copybook of Mysterious Tower Stele by Xuanhuan, a master of calligraphy in the Tang dynasty. It's best to learn calligraphy and copy famous inscriptions on inscriptions. But when you first start with the rubbings. Li Fan spoke. When copying calligraphy, it is best to choose the works of Lu Gongquan or Yan Zhenqing at the beginning, because these two have the most correct calligraphy skills and the strongest bones. Only after copying regular script can you proceed to running script, cursive script, etc. Du Guyuking took the rubbing copybook and took a look at it. His expression was suddenly shocked. His eyes seemed to be locked, and he was intoxicated. Every word is written with exquisite brushwork. With great righteousness, there is no need to take a slanted sword, as strong as a rock, you are not afraid of strong waves and strong winds. He clearly felt that the swordsmanship hidden in these words was awe-inspiring and upright. As mighty as a gentleman. He started copying. With every stroke he made, the sword energy in his body accumulated by 1 point. The little red bird he brought back sometimes flew to his shoulder and seemed to be very interested in his calligraphy practice. Sometimes it flew to the chickens and chirped, and the chickens did not reject it. Among the many disciples, Subakian was a little annoyed. Because, she is already learning how to treat diseases, but, there are no patients. She doubted whether she would ever have the chance to save anyone in her life. At this moment, a voice came from outside. Murantian of Muling village, come to see Senior Li and ask Senior Li for help. It was Murantian's voice, with a hint of pain. Li Fan heard this and said, "Please come in." The door to the small courtyard opened. Murantian walked in holding the unconscious Mu Wanking, with Mu Nanshan following behind him. Entering the small courtyard, Murantian knelt down directly with tears streaming down his face and said, "Senior, please save Wanking's life." Seeing this, Li Fan was shocked and hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Please get up quickly, why is this?" At a glance, he saw that Mu Wanking's face was pale and weak. She lost a lot of blood. After all, Li Fan was proficient in medical skills, so he could tell at a glance. This girl Mu Wanking is critically ill. Not caring about that much, he said directly. "Give me a bedroom, Bai Qian, come with me. Help is urgent." Of course such an urgent patient must be sent to the ICU. Hearing this, Murantian was very excited and hurriedly followed the instructions and carried Mu Wanking to Li Fan's bed. "Everyone get out," Li Fan said, and everyone went out and waited outside. "Bai Qian, my teacher will teach you how to do surgery. You can give me a lesson." Li Fan spoke. Subakian nodded solemnly and stood beside him nervously. "If you lose too much blood, there will be wounds. If the wounds are not treated properly, there will be endless troubles," Li Fan said as he spoke. "The scissors are tempered and can be sterilized. Give them to me." Subakian next to her immediately followed the instructions, tempered the scissors on the flame, and handed them to Li Fan. Li Fan cut off Mu Wanking's clothes. The beautiful body was visible at a glance, but in Li Fan's eyes, She was just a patient at the moment. At the heart, the wound is dripping and has not yet scabbed. Li Fan took the next step. Finally, the wound treatment was completed. This is the golden sore medicine prepared for the master. It is quite effective for wounds. Li Fan took out a bottle of red medicinal powder and gently poured some on Zemu Wanking's wound. Subakian looked at it intently and was immediately surprised. Because Mu Wanking's wounds are actually healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This wound is a Tao wound. Magic medicine is useless, but Master's golden sore medicine is so effective. The Master is indeed a medical god, and he has so much to learn. But Mu Wanking was still in a coma. Li Fan turned around, pushed the door open and walked out. Senior, Wanking, is there any hope? Mu Rantian asked nervously. Li Fan nodded and said. It was delivered on time, it's stable, and there's no problem. After saying that, she turned to look at Gong Ya and said. Gong Ya, go make a bowl of red dates, donkey hide gelatin and millet porridge. Mu Wanking's condition is now stable, but it will be difficult to recover in a short time due to blood loss. We could only let her take some blood-enhancing medicated food and slowly nurse her back to health. Yes, Master. Gong Ya went immediately. After a while, the porridge was ready. Li Fan returned to the room and tapped Mu Wanking's 3 acupuncture points. Ahem. Suddenly, Mu Wanking woke up coughing, her eyes were dazed, and she said. Where am I? Wanking, you finally woke up. Mu Rantian said excitedly, this is Senior Li's courtyard. It was Senior Li who saved you. Mu Wanking looked at Li Fan with extremely grateful eyes and said. Senior Li. Thank you. Li Fan said, no need to say thank you. Come, eat something. You are too weak and need more supplements. Gong Ya immediately stepped forward and fed Mu Wanking the porridge. Mu Wanking drank porridge. As the porridge entered her body, Mu Wanking looked slightly startled. Because, she clearly felt that an unparalleled sacred breath was actually nourishing her body. Especially the heart, it was wrapped in the sacred atmosphere at this moment, as if something was evolving. She continued to eat the porridge, her face gradually turning rosy. No. I feel that new blood is being bred in my heart. She murmured. At the same time, her aura suddenly changed. His whole body was enveloped by a sacred aura that was like water waves. Mu Rantian and Mu Nanshan's expressions changed drastically. At this moment, they almost knelt on the ground. Because, at this moment, Mu Wanking's physique was unparalleledly powerful, and she felt a supreme sense of oppression over them. Moreover, her cultivation level is rising rapidly, from the realm of peeping to the fusion Dao, and then directly from the first level of the fusion Dao realm to the 9th level of the fusion Dao realm to perfection. There is only one step left to reach the state of concentration. No. Why do I feel that Wanking is stronger than before when she awakened the wood spirit celestial body? Mu Nanshan was in disbelief. Is this, the wood spirit divine body? The wood spirit divine body. Mu Rantian was transmitting the message, and his words were filled with excitement. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 439. Wood Spirit Divine Body. Mu Nanshan was completely stunned when he heard these 4 words. Mu Lingxian Ti can already be called a genius in this world. There have been only 1 or 2 wood spirit celestial bodies in the entire history of the Great Ruins realm. They are rare in ancient times. Once they are born, they must have the qualifications to become gods. As for the wood spirit body, it only exists in myths and legends, and it is said that it can only be recorded in the vast divine realm. But now, at this moment, a wood spirit god has been born in the Great Ruins realm. They were all in a trance. The eyes looking at Li Fan were already full of unparalleled worship. What kind of person Senior Li must be, this old man, is unimaginable. Munanshan was trembling a little. As for Mu Wanking, her delicate body was trembling slightly at this moment. Tears fell from her eyes, and she stood up immediately and said, "Thank you, Senior Li, for your kindness." She was extremely grateful. When she was locked in the palace of the Queen of the Wood Spirit Dynasty, when the cold blade cut her heart, when her heavenly blood drained away, she thought her life was over, about to become a cripple and die. But now, she actually regained her life and was even stronger than before. This can be called reinvention. Li Fan said. "Have a good rest and don't act rashly." Mu Wanking then lay down to rest. In the blink of an eye, it was already evening. Mu Wanking's expression gradually improved, her complexion became rosy, and her body regained strength. "It looks like he is almost healed, the aura on his body is becoming more and more complete, and his awakened physique is completely formed. Muran Tian, Munan Mountain, etc. are even more surprising. Senior Li is truly a supreme god. Such a serious injury can be cured in just one day. Otherworldly." They thanked Li Fan with a big gift and were extremely grateful. Li Fan just smiled, asked them to get up, and then said, "Old man, what's going on with Miss Mu?" The wound was in the heart, it was really vicious. Hearing this, Murantian said with a hint of anger on his face, "Senior Chi, they are people from outside the wilderness. They want to steal the treasures of our village. They also tricked Wanking out and took Wanking's blood." Munanshan blamed himself and said, "I didn't protect Wanking." Mu Wanking's pretty face also showed a hint of deep hatred. Li Fan couldn't help being startled when he heard this. He understood that Mu Ling village had been robbed by robbers. Moreover, Mu Wanking was also captured and her blood was stolen. He had heard that some evil people with evil intentions would arrest people to take kidneys, sell blood, etc., but this time he actually encountered them. Is there any royal law in this world? This is too much. Such a wicked person should not be forgiven for his crime. He couldn't help but speak. "It's a pity that in this world where cultivators are respected, I am powerless and cannot help justice." Apart from being angry, he also felt a trace of sympathy in his heart. This Muling village was also pitiful and poor, and now it was being targeted by bad people outside. He knows very well that if those evil people have a first time, there will be a second time. "Muling village, I'm afraid I have to flee. After all, you still have to rely on yourselves." Li Fan looked at Murantian and the others. Hearing this, Murantian, Munanshan and Mu Wanking were all startled. Senior Li said that the Muling dynasty's crimes cannot be forgiven. Does he mean to punish the Muling dynasty? Munanshan speculated and said, and Senior Li also said that we have to rely on ourselves. What does it mean? But Murantian has already sent a message, confused. Isn't it obvious what Senior Li means? This is our cause and effect, and he won't take action directly. His old man, he should want us to do it ourselves. After all, every move of such a big shot affects the world. He immediately asked for instructions. "Senior Li, what should we do?" Everything must be listened to by Senior Li. Li Fan thought for a while. People from outside could come to rob Muling village and capture Mu Wanking. It seemed that there was no need to expect Muling village to resist. They can only escape. Perhaps it's time for you to leave Muling village. Li Fan speaks. Hearing this, Murantian and others were suddenly shocked. Leaving the god burial wasteland. They chewed on Li Fan's words. The ancestral teachings say that Muling village must not leave the wilderness, but Senior Li asked us to leave the wilderness. As Murantian thought about it, he suddenly thought that the reason why the ancestors left their ancestral instructions was because they encountered strange things when they entered the depths of the wilderness in the past, so future generations were not allowed to enter the wilderness again. At the same time, because they once brought some things from the depths of the wilderness, which were contaminated with cause and effect. Future generations are not allowed to leave the wilderness. Afraid of bringing disaster to the world outside the wilderness. The ancestral precepts arise out of the weirdness, and the source of everything is the weirdness deep in the wilderness. Not long ago, the Muling dynasty and the Crow Food tribe invaded the great wilderness, and they came to report it. At that time, Senior Li even sent 2 disciples to the great wilderness. Later, everyone from the Crow Food tribe and the Muling dynasty were wiped out, and no one came out. He couldn't help but glance at Wu Date and Dugu Yuking, and he couldn't help but understand instantly. Senior Li's disciple has returned in good health. This means that Senior Li took action to solve the strangeness deep in the wilderness. He took a deep breath of air conditioning. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt that everything suddenly came to light. Senior Li is so awesome. Obviously, Senior Li was very aware of what was in the depths of the wilderness, and he took action to solve it this time. Therefore, he said that it was time for him and others to leave Muling village. The removal of the strangeness means that Muling village finally no longer has to be bound by the ancestral precepts. Senior Li, a terrifying expert, actually lives here in seclusion. He must have an earth-shattering plan. There is even something strange involved in this big game. And our Muling village is just a chess piece chosen by his old man. It is precisely because of this that Senior Li will not hesitate to give the god rice and even let Wonking awaken the immortal body. Thinking of this, he felt extremely shocked, and at the same time, he suddenly became a little nervous. I was really confused, and I only now understood Senior Li's intention. I have been favored by Senior Li again and again, but nothing has been done for Senior Li. If the old man is not happy, I am afraid that Muling village will become a chess piece and become an abandoned piece. He was sweating and said hurriedly. Senior, don't worry, we will definitely comply. This time, Senior Li ordered the Muling village to leave the god burial wasteland and set out to conquer the Muling dynasty. This was the first task. No matter how hard you work, you have to complete it. At the same time, he conveyed his thoughts to Mu Nanshan and Mu Wonking. Mu Nanshan realized this and was very shocked. It turned out that Senior Li had such far-reaching plans and intentions. They also saluted hurriedly. Seeing how nervous and even a little panicked they were, Li Fan sighed slightly. He can understand how easy it is to leave home. Especially in rural areas like Muling village, if you leave your original place of residence and flee everywhere, what will you eat? What to drink? Can they not panic or be nervous in Murantian? What a miserable life. Hey, I'm afraid it will cost a lot to go here. Li Fan has nothing special and is only proficient in calligraphy and painting. I'll give you one to help with your trip. Li Fan spoke. I am also poor and have no money. After thinking about it, only calligraphy and painting are worth some money. After all, I once helped Huo Linger and the others start a calligraphy and painting business. Write a picture for Muling village, and they will take it and sell it, so they can escape with money. Xiling, prepare pen and ink. Li Fan spoke. Xiling got ready immediately and said, Master, it's ready. Li Fan walked over and immediately picked up his pen and wrote. Punish evil and promote good. 4 big characters. This is also his kind of sustenance and yearning. As soon as these 4 words came out, Murantian and Munanshan both looked shocked. They clearly felt an unparalleled power attached to the paper, like an irresistible divine order, like the heavenly voice that made people surrender. What a powerful force, this is unimaginable. They were so shocked. Getting it to the outside world may be of some use to you during this trip. When the pen and ink were dry, Li Fan immediately picked up the calligraphy and handed it to Mu Wonking. Mu Wonking took it respectfully and said deeply. Thank you, Senior. We will do our best. Immediately, they took their leave. Soon, the 3 of them left the small mountain village and arrived at Muling village. Rantian first informed the sacrifice spirit about the matter. When Lao Teng learned that Mu Wanking had awakened the wood spirit divine body, he was silent for a long time. Sacrifice to the spirits. Now it seems that the two disciples sent by Senior Li have solved the strangeness mentioned in the ancestral training. Rantian spoke. The old voice of the sacrificer said slowly. It should be said that it is partially solved. There are too many things buried deep in the wilderness. As far as I know, there are many more, deeper. Looking at it now, this existence is really unimaginable. The world avoids weirdness, but here he is. The plot is weird. Weird plan. Following him is not a bad thing, just do what Senior Li says. Sacrifice to the spirit. Rantian nodded and said loudly. The whole village gathers and prepares to fight against the Muling dynasty. Immediately, the whole village was in a sensation. Mu Wanking was the first to walk out, her face filled with an unprecedented sense of perseverance and calmness. This time, after experiencing life and death, her state of mind was no longer the simple girl she had been before. She wants revenge. And at this moment, Eastern Wasteland, the Wood Spirit Dynasty. A few days ago, there was a huge earthquake in the world. Because, in the Muling dynasty, a generation of goddess Mu Wangzia was born. The wood spirit celestial body reappears. This attracted the attention of the world and caused a sensation in the world. The wood spirit celestial body is an invincible body. The Muling dynasty is such a blessing. With this girl here, the wood spirit dynasty will surely rise, and it will probably be a glorious era. All the forces in the eastern wasteland are envious. The Qingyang sect, one of the four major sects of the God-serving God, has arrived and wants to marry the Muling dynasty. At this time, a piece of news spread. The world is paying more attention. There are 7 dynasties in the eastern wasteland, but the 7 dynasties are far from the top sects. Among the 4 major sects including Qingyang sect and Qinyao sect, the Ling family is above the 7 dynasties. Because these 4 sects once served the gods. Before, there had never been a marriage between the imperial dynasty and the Shishan sect, because the imperial dynasty was not worthy. But now, even the Shishan sect is coming to arrange marriage arrangements. The world lamented that the wood spirit celestial body was too powerful. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 440. The Muling Dynasty. In a palace, a royal banquet was being held. A middle-aged man in a blue-black robe raised his glass and said with a smile. Now our Qingyang sect and the Muling dynasty will become in-laws, let's have a drink. He is the representative of Qingyang sect, Taoist Si Dong. Next to him, there sat a young man who was as rich as jade. The young man had a warm smile on his lips and looked gentle and elegant. He is the protagonist of this marriage, Qingyang sect Gu Fenjian. Muhuang Mu Qingkang and Shang Guantongruo were sitting at the same table with them, and they were all smiling and toasting. Everyone drank it all. Today the two of you can come to the Muling dynasty in person. It is really a blessing for the dynasty. Mu, here's a toast to brother Si Dongdao. Mu Qingkang raised his glass, but he didn't dare to take it big. Because, even though a wood spirit celestial body has appeared in the wood spirit dynasty today, it is still very weak to the samurai god sect. Mu Xianfeng, the ancestor of the dynasty, is still in seclusion and has not been able to enter the realm of divine connection. But there is more than one person in the god-serving sect who has reached the realm of the gods. Moreover, the samurai god section is said to be able to contact the gods. Their Muling dynasty can only worship the gods. The status is different. Mu Qingkang knew very well that although the wood spirit dynasty already had a wood spirit celestial body, Without a backstage, the genius could be killed. In particular, the Yang dynasty, one of the 7 great dynasties, got a great opportunity from nowhere. The ancestor entered the realm of the gods and was seeking expansion. Since the news of the wood spirit celestial body was released, many people from the Yang dynasty have appeared in their wood spirit dynasty. Their Muling dynasty is also under great pressure. Qingyang sect's arrival was so timely. Muling dynasty is the place of incense for God Liu Yang. We serve God Liu Yang. We are a family. This time, we are getting closer. Taoist Si Dong smiled slightly and said, "Where is Miss Wang Ziyu? The wedding is coming soon, and it's time for us to let the bride and groom meet her." Next to him, Gu Fenjiun also had a look of expectation on his face. It would also be a great thing for him if he could take the wood spirit celestial body as his wife. "Go and invite Wang Ziyu." Shang Guantongruo smiled and waved. The maid next to her left. Not long after, a beautiful girl came over. She was swaying in a palace dress, and her figure was graceful, dignified, and beautiful. "Okay, she is indeed a beauty." Taoist Si Dong immediately praised him, his eyes sparkling. Mu Wangziu's aura is extremely powerful. It is indeed a wood spirit celestial body. "Gu Fenjiun, I have met the princess." Gu Fenjiun even stood up and was polite. "Wangziu, hurry up and sit next to Mr. Gu." When Shang Guantongruo spoke, Mu Wangziu smiled slightly and sat down. "Drink freely for both parties. It's better to choose a date than to hit it. The wedding should be done sooner rather than later. I think it will be set in 3 days. How about it?" After the feast, Taoist Si Dong spoke directly. "The wood spirit celestial body is so important that even the God-serving sect must be concerned about it." Mu Qingkang's eyes showed a touch of satisfaction and said, "Brother Dao Yisai Dong. By the way, the ancestor of our clan is only a few steps away from reaching the realm of divine connection. Can you help me, Brother Dao?" He took the opportunity to speak. "This marriage is an exchange. The wood spirit celestial body has entered the Qingyang sect, and the Qingyang sect should naturally help the wood spirit dynasty improve its strength." Taoist Si Dong smiled slightly and said, "Certainly." He took out a small wooden box and said, "One of these is a magic pill. With this pill, it can increase the chance of breaking through the realm by 40%. Hearing this, Mu Qingkang was overjoyed and hurriedly stood up to take it. That night, he personally delivered the elixir to the ancestors' retreat. 3 days later, Qingyang sect genius Gu Fenjiun married Princess Wangziu of the Muling dynasty. As soon as the news came out, Dong Huang paid attention. This is a big deal. All the major dynasties and sects received the invitations. I didn't expect that the Muling dynasty would actually produce a genius. In the Yang dynasty, an emperor looked gloomy. He is the emperor of the Yang dynasty, Yang Dingtian. Since Elder Tianqian discovered that underworld, our dynasty has benefited from it and made rapid progress. Now we have finally joined the ranks of the forces serving the gods." He murmured. 3 years ago, Yungzi, the daughter of the Yun family, the top family in Zhongzhou, disappeared in the eastern wasteland, and all major forces participated in the search. In their Yang dynasty, Elder Tianqian personally led people to search. Although he did not find the whereabouts of the daughter of the Yun family, he unexpectedly found a place in the underworld. They captured a lot of high-quality yin spirits from the underworld, especially a Pegasus yin spirit. You must know that Pegasus has long been extinct in the world of heaven. Although it is only a yin spirit, it is also a supreme treasure. Therefore, the dynasty continued to grow, and 3 years later, the ancestor entered the realm of the gods. There are cultivators in the realm of the gods who are in charge. All they have to do is serve the god Xuanhuan Shangshen they worship, and if they win enough incense land, they will have the opportunity to become a force to serve the gods. So, They're always looking to expand. The Muling dynasty is the first target. But now? No chance. Hey, now, we can only take one step at a time. Yang Dingtian sighed and immediately sent someone to participate. Other forces are also following suit. Coming soon in 3 days. On this day, the capital of Muling dynasty was extremely lively. All the major forces in the eastern wasteland have gathered. There were even elders from Qingyang sect who came to participate in person. The wedding took place in the palace. Representatives from the 7 major dynasties, including the Yanggui dynasty and the Zijin dynasty, as well as major sects such as the Divine Medicine sect and the Xianshui sect, all came to watch the ceremony. Mu Qingkang, his wife, and Master Qingyang sect were sitting at the top of the hall. The ministers and guests sat on both sides. Among the ministers, Mu Zhenfeng sat at the head, but next to him sat an old man who looked tired and pale. He is Mu Zhenkong. Now, do you realize how stupid you are? Mu Zhenfeng sneered, looked at Mu Zhenkong and said. It was I who deprived Mu Wangking of his hard work with my own hands, and it was I who created the wooden spirit celestial body of the dynasty. And you actually want to do something to Princess Wangziu. You are truly treasonous, you will spend your whole life repenting in desolation. That day, after Mu Nanshan and Mu Wangking left, Mu Zhenkong dragged his body and tried to attack Mu Wangziu. Unfortunately, at that time, Mu Wangziu's surroundings were extremely tight, and Mu Zhenkong had already run out of gas, so he failed to succeed. He was locked up to this day. This is Xuanhuan Tongruo's order, to make Mu Zhenkong watch Mu Wangziu shine in the East Wasteland and marry into the Qingyang sect, and to make Mu Zhenkong become incompetently furious and repent to the extreme. When Mu Zhenkong heard this, his eyes turned miserable. The wood spirit celestial body was just stolen. He muttered. He didn't feel anything about the excitement in front of him. At this moment, he was just wondering whether the girl who walked out of the desert because of him was still alive. The blood of my heart has been deprived of me, and I am hopeless, I'm afraid. There was a throbbing pain in his heart, and he felt extremely sad. It's all my own fault, stupid and incompetent, haha, now, letting myself sit here and looking at the sins I have created with my own hands, is this punishment from God? Newcomers come to the palace. The ceremony has begun. The guests and ministers all look towards the main hall. Gu Fenjian of the Qingyang sect was dressed in a wedding dress. Next to him was Mu Wangziu, the proud daughter of heaven. Mu Wangziu wore a bright red dress, tall figure, and wore a red hijab. She did not hide her powerful bloodline aura, but took the initiative to release it. At this moment, everyone in the field looked solemn. Is this the power of the celestial body? Facing it, it actually makes me feel like my spiritual energy is blocked. Throughout the history of the Great Ruins realm, there are only 1 or 2. I'm envious. The proud daughter of heaven is truly worthy of her title. A generation of heavenly daughters will surely rise to the sky. Everyone's eyes were filled with envy and even jealousy. Looking up, Mu Qingkang showed a smile on his lips. This is exactly the result he wants. Let the world see the power of the wood spirit celestial body. Let the world know that the Muling dynasty is no longer what it used to be and should not be coveted. A newlywed couple slowly stepped forward. Like heaven and earth, they meet everyone's envious and looking up eyes. Under the bright red hijab, Mu Wangziu always had a proud smile on her lips. Today, she has become the most attractive woman in the entire eastern wasteland. The name of the goddess resounds throughout the eastern wasteland, and one day, she will leave an indelible legend in the Great Ruins world. Haha, all this is thanks to Mu Wangking. I will make good use of everything you have. Her smile grew brighter. They walked past Mu Zhenkong. Mu Zhenkong felt the aura of the Muling celestial body and looked up, his eyes filled with tears and sorrow. These should belong to another person. A goddess of one generation should have been another girl. He felt that his life had almost come to this day. He said in a voice he could barely hear, "Sorry." Then he closed his eyes. He used his last bit of vitality and prepared to explode his body. Even if he dies, he will still splatter the blood of these people. However, Mu Zhenfeng's hand next to him had already rested on his shoulder. "Elder Zhen Kong, today is a big day, you won't do anything random, right?" Due to Mu Zhenfeng's spiritual power, Mu Zhenkong's whole body was instantly weak. His face was pale and his heart was filled with despair. "Can't you even commit suicide? Bow down to me." The master of ceremonies' voice sounded. A man of the first generation began to salute. However, at this moment, outside the imperial city, suddenly a cold female voice came. "Wait. Mu Wanking from the God-burying wilderness Mu Ling village is here to give you a congratulatory gift." This sound spread throughout the entire imperial city. In an instant, everyone in the hall was shocked. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 441. Mu Wanking from the God-burying wilderness Mu Ling village is here to give you a congratulatory gift. A voice came, alarming the imperial city. In the main hall, countless guests looked puzzled. Mu Ling village in the God-burying wilderness? Mu Wanking? Who is this? I don't understand. At this time, the ceremony has already begun, but you have just arrived, and you dare to make such a noise. Haha, are you deliberately looking for trouble? The guests were talking a lot. But the faces of all the officials in the dynasty changed slightly. Why is this person back? Shouldn't she be dead? The heavenly blood was taken away, can she come back? And, from the sound of her voice, she doesn't sound like someone who was seriously injured. They were all confused. Although the royal family ordered that what happened in the palace a few days ago be kept secret, it had already spread among the upper echelons of the dynasty. After all, there was too much commotion that day, a bloody battle in the palace, and even the clan elders showed up. Everyone knows what happened. At this moment, a person who was supposed to die actually appeared. How could we not be surprised? Mu Zhenkong's old eyes were startled at this moment, and he turned to look outside the hall. His old eyes were filled with excitement. Is it really her? She is still alive? Looking up, Taoist Si Dong of the Qingyang sect flashed a strange look in his eyes, and he naturally noticed something was wrong. However, he didn't say anything. Next to him, Mu Qingkang's face suddenly darkened. He glanced lightly at Mu Zhenfeng, who was looking down. Mu Zhenfeng immediately understood and stood up to leave to deal with the matter. Continue. Mu Qingkang spoke calmly. As an emperor, he will not be easily influenced. The master of ceremonies then spoke loudly again and said, "Bow down to me." The two newcomers continued to bow. However, right now, suddenly a shrill scream came from outside. Ah! This voice was extremely miserable. It was Mu Zhenfeng's voice. This time, everyone at the table could not sit still. They stood up and looked outside. Immediately afterwards, a figure suddenly slammed in from outside. Bang! This man directly hit the hall hard, and in an instant, the cups and plates were in a mess, and the wine was splashed everywhere. Everyone looked around and saw a headless corpse among the broken tables and broken chairs. Next to the corpse, a bloody human head kept rolling. That's Mu Zhenfeng's head. He was killed. In an instant, everyone was shocked. Everyone stood up, their faces frightened and surprised. What's going on? Which force is attacking? Are you crazy? If you attack the Mu Ling dynasty on this day, are you declaring war on the Mu Ling dynasty and even the Qingyang sect? What a courage! The person who came here is very strong. Mu Zhenfeng is a strong man in the realm of refining gods, but he was killed in just a short moment. Visitors from all forces were talking about it. And the expressions of everyone in the Muling dynasty changed drastically. At this moment, Mu Qingkang's eyes were beating with anger. He could no longer sit still and said, "Brother Si Dong, please excuse me for now." Taoist Si Dong's eyes also sank and he said, "If necessary, Brother Mu can just say this. Throughout the eastern wasteland, no one dares to be disrespectful to our sect. Coming to disrupt today's wedding not only brings disgrace to the Muling dynasty, but also brings disgrace to the Qingyang sect." Mu Qingkang nodded and said, "They're probably just a bunch of young people. The wedding is on hold." He spoke loudly, then stood up and walked outside. Immediately, everyone followed. Walking out of the main hall, I saw three figures standing upright in mid-air. An old man, a middle-aged man, and a girl. Behind them, a huge old vine covered the sky, its roots penetrated deeply into the imperial city. The walls of the imperial city were full of cracks and would collapse in an instant. Seeing this scene, everyone was surprised. Who is this? At first glance, it seems that the strongest of these people are only at the level of concentration. How could they get here? It's weird. The old vine seems to have evolved some kind of secret method, and the girl's aura seems to be extraordinary. Everyone is speculating. Everyone in the Muling dynasty was even more surprised. Mu Wanqing is actually still alive. She is not dead, and even has a breakthrough in her cultivation. Are these people from the ancestral village? The ministers discussed. And Mu Qingkang has already stepped out. He looked at the three people in the sky coldly, his eyes darkened. "Haha, it turns out to be Marquis Nanshan, Princess Wanqing." He sneered. Hearing this, Taoist Si Dong next to him was surprised. These intruders were actually from the Muling dynasty? Oh? They are also from the Muling dynasty? What's going on? Taoist Si Dong asked. Xuanhuan Tongruo replied. What you don't know is that these people were originally members of our clan left in the wilderness. My husband and I felt pity for their hardship in the wilderness, so we showed great kindness and welcomed them into the imperial dynasty, where they were given high officials, generous salaries, and good food and clothing. A cold look flashed in her beautiful eyes, and she said, "I didn't expect that these people are so ambitious and want to repay kindness with hatred. They really deserve to be killed." Many guests are all in awe. But at this time, an old voice suddenly sounded, saying, "Nonsense. Shangguan Tongruo and Mu Qingkang are clearly the wood spirit celestial bodies you plot against Mu Wanqing." When everyone turned around, it was Mu Zhenkong who struggled out of the chair. There was blood at the corner of his mouth and he roared. "Everyone, Mu Wangzhou is not a real wood spirit celestial body at all. They designed to deprive the genius Mu Wanqing of the ancestral village of his heart's blood. They deserve death. He tells the truth." Instantly, everyone at the scene was in an uproar. How could this be? Real or fake? There were rumors circulating before, but I didn't expect it to be true. There have been some changes in the eyes of countless people looking at the people of the Wood Spirit dynasty. What happened in the Muling dynasty was not airtight. There were also rumors circulating in the outside world. But now, Mu Zhenkong actually confirmed it, showing that it can't be fake. Taoist Si Dong also shuddered slightly. This information had been obtained by the Qingyang sect before. He raised his eyes and looked at Mu Wanqing in the sky. But then he shook his head. In any case, Mu Wanqing is dead, and now Mu Wangzhou is the only wood spirit celestial body. Even if Mu Wanqing survives by chance, she will only be a mortal body. In the world of spiritual practice, it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong, it's all about gains and losses. They will still stand with the Wood Spirit dynasty. Mu Qingkang's face darkened, and he grabbed Mu Zhenkong with his big hand. Anger burned in his eyes. Originally, with Mu Zhenfeng watching, Mu Zhenkong couldn't cause any trouble, but he didn't expect that Mu Zhenfeng would ignore Mu Zhenkong when something happened. I have tolerated you again and again, but now it seems that you really want to die. Watch carefully. When I kill these ants, I will grant you death. He threw Mu Zhenkong aside, and Mu Zhenkong immediately vomited blood. Then, he stepped forward, looked into the sky, and said coldly, "Wei." In an instant, a large number of royal masters appeared. There are dozens of people in the concentration realm. 4 masters have appeared in the realm of refining gods. Please ask the clan elder. He shouted. Use your foundation directly. Because these 3 people seemed to have low cultivation levels, but they were able to kill Mu Zhenfeng, who was in the 8th level of the god refining realm. They must not be taken lightly. Therefore, he chooses the safest way. As his voice fell, 2 terrifying beams of light shot into the sky under the Wood Spirit dynasty. 2 old men in grey robes have appeared. Surprisingly, they were the 2 clan elders who had appeared before, Mu Hongyun and Mu Hongbo. 2 clan elders, people from the ancestral village, tried to disrupt the wedding and severely injured elder Mu Zhenfeng. Please ask the 2 clan elders to take action and kill Xiao Xiao. Hearing this, Mu Hongyun and Mu Hongbo looked at Mu Rantian and others. What you did is too much. Mu Hongbo spoke coldly. The Mu Ling dynasty used poisonous tactics to steal my blood. How shameless do you think we are going too far? Mu Wanqing stepped forward to retort. Mu Hongyun was calm and said. We all come from the same origin. This is for everyone's benefit. When the dynasty prospers, the ancestral village will also benefit from it, right? You just made some small sacrifices. Why is this? However, next to Mu Wanqing, Mu Rantian was smiling angrily. To put it lightly, some small sacrifice. You are not the one who was deprived of the wood spirit celestial body. Of course you can talk about it without any shame. He stepped forward and shouted angrily. Today, we will fight until death. Mu Wanqing's face was so calm. She glanced at the people below and said. I'm here to take revenge. I won't kill innocent people. Those who put down their weapons and leave now will not die. After hearing this, no one moved, everyone just looked at them indifferently. The faces of the 2 elders of the 2 major clans in the sky were even colder. Mu Hongyun said. If you are stubborn, don't blame us for not remembering our old friendship today. As he spoke, a broken spear appeared in his hand. Next to him, Mu Hongbo also held the rusty iron axe. They are all ancestral weapons brought by the founder of the Muling dynasty from the Great Wilderness ancestral village. Their powerful cultivation levels were even more unleashed. Both of them were at the 6th or 7th level of the god refining heaven, and their auras filled the entire air. They stepped forward and were about to take action. Wait a minute. At this time, in front of the palace hall below, Mu Wangxiu suddenly walked out. Everyone's eyes fell on her. Wangxiu? Queen Shang Guantongruo asked in confusion. Mu Wangxiu's eyes were cold and she said. Let me kill her with my own hands. She looked at Mu Wanqing in the sky and said. You useless bitch, don't you want revenge? Haha, come on, do you dare to fight me? Her eyes were full of malice and pride. He is already a wood spirit celestial body and is invincible in this world. However, ever since she merged with the blood of the celestial body, she has always felt a shadow in her heart. The blood of the celestial body was taken away from her after all. This kind of shadow can only be eliminated by killing Mu Wanqing with your own hands. In the sky, Mu Wanqing heard the words and stepped forward calmly, saying. Why don't you dare? Mu Wangxiu nodded with a sneer and said. Very good. After saying that, all her cultivation suddenly burst out. That is, the cultivation level of the 1st level of concentration. Everyone was surprised. To be able to reach the state of concentration at this age is worthy of being a peerless celestial body. It's so strong, it can rival the strong men of the Mesozoic era. She is invincible among her peers. It won't be long before her name will spread throughout the great ruins realm and she will be worshipped by the world. Everyone spoke with praise and envy. Mu Qingkang also nodded, so it would be better for the Wood Spirit dynasty to let the world see the power of the Wood Spirit celestial body. Taoist Si Dong and Gu Fenjian were even more delighted. Under the attention of everyone, Mu Wangxiu stepped forward, and her whole body was filled with a round of blood that was like a sun wheel. She was as powerful as a goddess. Haha, as long as you can withstand my 3 moves, I can spare your life and keep you in a dog pen. How about I treat you very well? My good sister. The mark on her face was extremely sinister, and her spiritual power was like a frenzy, suddenly sweeping towards Mu Wanking. Trash, bitch, die completely. She shouted. However, Mu Wanking's face was calm and indifferent. It wasn't until the endless wave of spiritual power swept over her that she slowly raised her hand. Her breath slowly released. In an instant, the essence of heaven and earth swarmed in, thousands of plants and trees bowed their heads in an instant, and endless vitality burst out from her body. This kind of chi made everyone in the audience feel palpitations and a kind of oppression coming from their blood. She raised her hand and waved out her palm. The huge wave of spiritual power that came from the endless attack suddenly collapsed completely. As for Mu Wangxiu, a flash of fear flashed across her pupils at this moment. Before she could react, she was already knocked away. Boom! Mu Wangxiu hit the stone steps in front of the palace hard. Hundreds of hard stone steps were all broken into pieces, and smoke and dust flew everywhere. Mu Wangxiu, lost. Everyone was shocked and looked at the scene in disbelief. But Mu Wanking calmly stopped her hand and said, 3 moves. To defeat you, why do I need 3 moves? 1 move is enough. To defeat you, 1 move is enough. The words were indifferent, but everyone was stunned. What's going on? What happened? Why did Mu Wangxiu lose with just 1 move? This woman's aura is so powerful that it actually makes me feel scarier than the heavenly bodies. Hasn't her celestial body been crippled? How come she still has such fighting power? Everyone is in disbelief. At this moment, Taoist Si Dong stared at Mu Wanking, his eyes full of shock, and said, She is, the wooden spirit divine body. The legendary wood spirit body. There was a trembling sound in his words, as if these 4 words made him feel unbelievable. As soon as this statement came out, the whole audience was in an uproar.